Thank you for activating the in-game commentary track for Unavowed. I've been waiting 3 years to say that. This game has taken a long time to finish, so...
Hello, and welcome to the Unavowed art commentary.
I'm actually really proud of this title screen, and not just because of all the particle effects and flying skulls and things. You'll notice if you're playing this game for the first time, you'll see Eli and Mendana on the lower left. And as you play through the game, various characters get added to the roster. You see Kalash, you see Logan, you see Vicky, and you see the player character, obviously. And they subtract as well, depending on who leaves and things like that. So it was an article by John Walker on Rock, Paper, Shotgun, where he talked about title screens and how he wished they would reflect that the player had played the game, that when he logs into the game and he sees something change, it makes him feel happy. So this is for you, John Walker.
May you be snatched away from this place. You shall no more dare to deceive, persecute, and torment. As smoke is driven away, as wax melts before the fire, so shall you be driven away, unclean spirit! Silence! Now answer true. Are you demon, man, or woman?
When I first started working on this game, I dreamed it was kind of a pie-in-the-sky idea to enable the player to choose between male or female at the beginning of the game. I knew it would double our work, but Ben is kind of a machine and he was up for it. So we went for it. And I'm especially proud of how you make that choice here in this introduction as part of the gameplay, as part of a dialogue. I'm actually really, really happy how this turned out.
Demon, your power over his mind is waning. Release him now! Release him before I am forced to destroy you!
Years upon years upon years ago, in the dark ages of around 2011, I had just finished Blackwell Deception, and I was thinking of making another game that was not Blackwell, to kind of cleanse my palate between releases, that kind of thing. And I had this idea of an urban fantasy, and I knew nothing about it except that it would start with an exorcism. I originally envisioned the player character like tied down to a bed or a table or something, and some priest thumping a Bible, just pulling the evil out of you. And then from there, you have to go on the rest of the game. I had no idea what that was going to be. But then we worked on other projects. We worked on the New Guys. We worked on Resonance. We worked on Primordia. And I just didn't really have the time to design anything brand new. And by the time all those were over, I figured I needed to get back to Blackwell. So I did Blackwell Epiphany instead. So it wasn't until years and years after that that I finally decided to tackle that great urban fantasy story that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now you're finally playing it.
Remember! You are human! Remember!
Many of the testers requested rightly that the player character scream when hit by lightning. This makes sense. They would obviously scream. I tried, both me and Shelly tried recording various screams. None of them sounded right. I tried downloading a bunch of screams from royalty-free websites. None of them worked either. It just always sounded ridiculous. So in the end, I just decided to keep the player character stoic and silent.
Tell us, before the demon regains control, your name. Tell us your name! Did you hear that, evil spirit? He knows himself. He is yours no longer. Now, your past. Tell me something about your past. Your profession! Quick! No!
Answer his question. We do not want to destroy you along with the demon, but we will if we have to.
Yes! He's beginning to remember. Night after night, you pour drinks and help people forget their troubles. You give them the strength to push forward, to prevail. Now it's your turn. Take your own advice.
The introduction to any game or any story or any work of creative anything is always a challenge. You have to introduce the world, the characters, the concept, etc., etc. So naturally, I made that task about 3 times harder for myself by enabling you to play through these origin stories. So yeah, no one ever said I was smart. I was really inspired by Dragon Age Origins, which kind of does the same thing. You can choose an origin and you play through that origin, and there's several of them. You play through that origin before the events of the game kick off, and kind of your life from that origin gets peppered throughout the rest of the game. And I always found that was very satisfying. Like, it really made me feel like that choice had meaning. And I always dreamed of doing something similar. And with Unavowed, we did it. It wasn't easy. It was quite a lot of work. Probably added about 5 or 6 months to the project because we had to write and implement and test all those 3 extra scenes. But it was worth it. I really think it's something that made the game unique and interesting and fascinating. And during the testing period, it was really interesting to see how people reacted when they tried different paths. And that's also my hope, that people will go back and try different paths. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Origins as well.
Fight it! Remember who you are! Remember!
I like each of the origin stories, but each one has something I really like about it that the other 2 don't have. And this bartender origin specifically has a really good story arc. The other 2 don't quite have the same story arc. Here, I feel I really managed to create this wonderful character in the form of Jonah, where you have all the sympathy and compassion, and you really feel for him. I did something really right with him. And then, you turn on him and it's this horrible, horrible moment. Whenever I watch people play the bartender origin, they were affected the most by it. And I'm very proud of that. I like the character of Jonah. I love how he turned out. And so I feel that really created a wonderful, strong foundation for the rest of the game to build upon.
Hey, wait. Hey, long time no see. I shouldn't be here. I know, but I need your help. It's my brother. Remember Jonah? He's in there. He's bad. Badder than me on my worst day. Your boss called me to take him home, but... No, I thought I could, but I just can't go in there. Smell of that place. I just can't. The first thing they tell you is not to enter a gin joint if you can avoid it. I've gone 4 years. I can't lose them. Not even for him. Who's more selfish? Me or him? It was his choice to get shit-faced, not mine. Just talk to him, okay? He practically lives in this place. You know him better than I do. And don't tell your boss I'm out here. I don't think she likes me too much these days. Seriously, thanks for this. I'll owe you one.
Thank God you're here. Right. I'm the boss. I'm important. I'm supposed to be in control. Fuck this. After tonight, I'm done. I quit. Wait, Logan's outside? He's not coming in? Oh, right, he's drinking the Kool-Aid. The alcohol-free kind. Maybe he's got the right idea. I thought Logan was a mean drunk, but Jonah? He's worse. He came in here all twitchy and looking scared. He asked for a whiskey and I gave it to him. Then he started crying. Then he started screaming. Now he's locked himself in the damn bathroom. You kidding? You think they'll come to this neighborhood? Maybe in an hour if they come at all. No, we're stuck with him. But maybe. Look, maybe you can get him out of there. He's always listened to you. You better be, after all I taught you. Now we get to see how good you really are. Look, just get him out the door. You can scream at the rats in the park for all I care. I'll just wait here.
The history behind the bartender origin is actually quite interesting because originally it wasn't going to be bartender. It was going to be your recovering alcoholic. And the origin was going to be at an AA meeting where you met Logan. And I couldn't think of anything interesting. And I think the problem there wasn't so much that it was at an AA meeting. It was that I couldn't think of how being a recovering alcoholic would impact the rest of the game. With actor, easy, you could lie. As a cop, easy, you're more forceful. But as a recovering alcoholic, what did that mean? You know, like that, there was no way to really make that work. And I think I was resisting it so much that I couldn't get the origin out properly. So I changed it to bartender instead, which is pretty much the exact opposite of a recovering alcoholic. But I can't deny that it was a much better idea and it worked 10 times better.
Go away, Sammy. Oh, it's you. I just can't. No, shut up! Just stop! I'm sorry. It's not you. You've always been good to me. I know you tried. It just didn't work. Just leave me alone. No. Better I'm alone. It's fitting to do this here. But no, I don't care. You're not here. I can't. Not till, no! Damn it, no! Just go away! Get out!
What did I tell you? You want to cuddle him? Do it when you're not here. And take my advice and stay away from guys like that. I know it's not good for business, but some people just shouldn't drink. Crap like that runs in the family. I should have barred Jonah along with his drunk-ass brother. Drunk-ass idiot. I should have cut him off right away. I believe I gave you a job to do. If he pukes in there, I ain't cleaning it up. Just saying. I believe I gave you a job to do.
The history behind the bartender origin is actually quite interesting.
Oh, the key? Yeah, I guess that'll work. Don't look at me like that. You want the truth? I didn't use the key because Jonah's scaring the hell out of me. I was gonna give the key to Logan, but he's a no-show. Guess he'll have to do.
I locked that door for a reason. I don't think I can do that. They keep talking to me with the begging and pleading and crying. Can't you hear them? They are so loud. I know it sounds crazy, and I tried to pretend she didn't exist. But now, there are so many, so many. I close my eyes, they're there. I try to sleep, they're there. I tried to drink, they are still here. It got so bad, my boss fired me. Me! Just like they fired my brother. It just keeps getting worse. I can't make them go away. There are dozens of them, hundreds. They're surrounding me, surrounding you. I can't stop them. All I can do is join them. The dead, the army of the dead, they want me to join them. Yeah, they started coming about a month ago. First ghost came, a little girl. She told me I was chosen. Then I started seeing more and more everywhere. They won't leave me alone. If I have to die to make it stop, then so be it. What? You think being locked up in Bellevue is better? Locked in Bellevue with these dead things? I've thought about it, asking for help. I can't live like this, but I don't want to die, man. I don't want to die. Why is this happening? You think? I don't know if I can be helped, but it's worth a try, I guess. Here, just take it. Thanks. You and Sammy, man. You've always been good to me. And this book, you can take this too. Yeah, I thought it would help. It's about spirits and ghosts and stuff. It had techniques to make them go away, but I think it's just made it worse. Take it, will you? I just don't want to look at it. Right. Let's go. I owe Sammy an apology.
Was that a gunshot? To Jonah?
Your chosen vessel remembers. You are no longer welcome, wicked spirit. The hands you control will no longer do your bidding. In the name of myself, my witness, and the soul whom you hold captive, I cast you out! Gotcha!
Eli! Stand back!
Jeez, Mandy, put that sword away. The spirit is gone. That guy's harmless. See? He doesn't even remember us. Looks like his memory got scrambled during the exorcism.
Scrambled.
What? It happens.
I apologize for the threat. It has been a long night. Please, come with us, and we will explain everything. Because I am cold, soaking wet, and I have been outdoors all night. However, if you want to stay up here, you are welcome to.
Look, we've had a rough night. Go easy on us, okay? Just come on downstairs. When you're ready, we'll explain everything. We're the good guys. Honest. See? She doesn't even remember us.
One of the most noticeable things about Unavowed's art is probably the use of red, particularly in the skies. Some time ago, I did a sample scene for a Hellblazer game for Dave. I was familiar with Sandman and Lucifer on the Vertigo imprint, but when I looked up the Hellblazer art, I was struck by how often red and pink skies were used. So when starting this project, after that didn't work out, that idea really carried over, seeing as we were doing urban fantasy and that same sort of vibe. As a kid and teenager, I used to really love cartoon shows like Samurai Jack, Invader Zim, Batman, both the animated series and Batman Beyond, and they really used red in their skies a lot to very dramatic effect, and I always loved that sense of drama and how the black silhouettes of buildings would stand out. So I really wanted to try and capture something like that. I also try to keep a fairly consistent color scheme per project. I feel that gives each game a specific recognizable look from a glance. Epiphany uses a lot of green, Techno Babylon used a lot of blue, Shardlight used a lot of yellow, so it felt natural here to carry over to a red scheme. Although I will say by the end of Shardlight I feel that the color scheme got a bit samey, so this time I tried to go for a bit more diversity. I was probably less fascinated with color theory this time. So you'll see some shades of pink and some shades of orange and purple for skies at certain points, but mostly red.
Do your duty one last time. Duty.
I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew you'd go there.
You got all this on recorded too. So.
Great.
You're no longer welcome, evil spirit. I could say the line correctly, maybe. Remember!
Nice.
Bastion! Right.
Oh my god, Moonchild!
Do take your time. Soak it all in.
There's always a disconnect between how well you think something works visually when drawing or animating it and how well it actually works when you see it in the game. In the case of this restaurant, which from Dave's writing told me I needed to make it shocking and confronting, my first take on it left me very underwhelmed the first time I actually played the game up until this point, especially when you've got characters in the scene. They sort of take the attention away to anything that might be around them, as opposed to when you're actually putting the scene together. As a result, I went back and made the restaurant a whole lot bloodier and more violent. It's not always feasible to keep tweaking things over and over like this until you're happy with them, but in this case it was such a foundational part of who we're playing that we be confronted with this sort of horrible scene of our crimes, our recent crimes, that I thought it was essential that we get this part right.
Did you put up a veil, Mondana? Did you put up a veil, Mondana? Got that veil up, Mondana? Can I still talk about the veil, Mondana? A coloring book with mandalas?
So, How is that memory of yours? Anything spring to mind? A small mercy, perhaps. For you, at least. These innocents of the city who I have sworn to protect, were destroyed by your hands.
I think you'll find your definition of impossible is about to change. You were possessed by some kind of demon. It made you do things.
You do not remember? 1 year ago, you murdered that man Jonah in cold blood, and that bartender.
Your body did, if that's what you mean. That bar's been a condemned site ever since. The story was top news for weeks. Every district in the city was searching for you.
As were we, and it is fortunate that we found you first. These people on the floor, torn apart using your bare hands. The rain washed away most of the blood from your hands, but it will always be there, whether you can see it or not. It is good that you think this way. The demon who possessed you, it would not.
Listen to me. These feelings you've got right now, the guilt, the anger, hold on to that. It means you're human. You'll need that going forward.
Speaking of going...
Yeah, we need to scoot. Did you put up a veil, Mondana?
I did, and it will confuse the police long enough for us to get away, but we should not tarry.
I'd love to chat and get to know you better, but we need to vamoose.
Fresh air at last.
A padlock. Of course. Can you pry it off?
I am tired, Eli. My strength ebbed hours ago. Perhaps he can help us. Could you find something to pry this off?
Yeah, anything big or heavy should do.
In the early pages of my design notebook, you'll see a bunch of scribbles that were supposed to be rooms from the sewer. My original idea was that Eli and Madonna had chased the demon version of you through the sewers. He broke up through the ceiling and into the restaurant, killed everyone, and then went up to the roof. And so you kind of had to retrace your steps back down to avoid the police who were coming into the restaurant. So you had to go down into the sewer, and you encountered a ghost of one of the restaurant patrons who you had to deal with. And that was not a bad idea. It was just too much to explain. I didn't want to have to explain what ghosts were right at the beginning of the game. I just wanted to keep it simple and something broad that people can understand. Some ugly, hideous monster that is trying to kill them. You can understand that. So that's what I did instead. When Ben sent me a bunch of sketches for what this monster could look like, they were all various degrees of hideous, big and slavering and, hulking, and then he gave me one that was like this skinny thing, just, loosely connected sinew, and it was wonderful. And I thought, yeah, this doesn't sell intimidating, but it really sells hungry, and the monster is really hungry, and that's a big core of what drives him at this moment. So that's the design we went with.
Not to mention the victims inside are innocent. They have families, loved ones. They'll want closure. I can read this with emotion. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry, but your days of a cop, ba-dip-a-doop-a-da-bop. Your days as a cop are over. Your days of a cop are over. Look, pal. Under most circumstances, I would have been happy to burn that guy to a crisp. Look, pal, under most circumstances,
I love Eli and Madonna's relationship. Just
Oh yeah, oh they're great.
in the
They're
middle
great.
of this like creature threatening to eat people. It's like, no, you do it. Please do not waste time speaking. We grow tired.
Just look around. There's bound to be something. Just look around. There's bound to be something.
It often happens when putting art together based on a designer's notes that you have to do things a slightly different way to that which would seem the logical approach. For the water in this scene, I wanted to have it animating with the raindrops splashing into the puddle, but we also had to have the puddle grow in order to accommodate Dave's puzzle design. It's really incredibly difficult to animate water both looping smoothly with ripples, but also have the size of the puddle growing in a single animation, and AGS cannot calculate this sort of effect easily at runtime without some coding that was really beyond the scope of the scene. So what actually happens here is that the entire puddle is animating the whole time that the scene plays, and the animation of the puddle growing that you actually see is actually an animation of the ground slowly being erased over top of the puddle. Backwards solutions like this often seem a little odd, but they can really make what seem like an extremely difficult thing to achieve quite simple and efficient to accomplish.
You've got to be kidding me.
This place, much has changed.
Creature, who are you and what is your purpose here?
Purpose? You invited me.
You're mistaken.
I was summoned across the void by you.
So when this commentary track is over, you will hear Eli and Madonna and the monster talk in the background, meaning that you're able to interact with the world and click on things and walk around while they are talking. And that is something I've never done before, at least to not to any major degree. I love dialogue, writing it is my favorite thing, but I always have to be a little careful about how much I write because I do not want to take control away from the player. I want you to keep your agency. So this allowed me to have it both ways. I can indulge in writing fun dialogue while allowing you control. So I think that worked pretty well.
I say again, you are mistaken. You know I speak the truth.
I know what you are, Jin Child. I know you cannot. Nevertheless, a beacon appeared. A path was formed. I merely followed it.
Nobody here has done such a thing.
That might not be entirely true.
Eli?
On the roof, I used a lot of power. Probably enough to call the attention of, well, something like this.
Neophyte mage, playing with forces you don't understand.
I'm mage enough to burn you into a greasy smudge.
You lie. I know a falsehood when I hear one. I can smell your power, mageling. You have none left. You are nearly spent. And you, Jin Child, are so fatigued you can barely stand.
That may be true, but stand we shall.
Since we're being so honest with each other, you don't look too healthy yourself.
The journey here was long and difficult. I used much of my energy getting here.
So you're just as tired as we are. That's called a stalemate, friend.
I do not wish to fight. I have no quarrel with either of you. I am merely hungry. Feed me, and I will return home.
That is all? What type of food do you require?
On this plane of existence, human flesh is all that will sustain me.
Of course it is. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Agreed. We cannot allow that. Depart in peace. There need not be bloodshed.
I need to feed. I will die otherwise.
The lady asked you to leave.
You give me orders?
I summoned you. I do have that right.
If you have the will to enforce it.
Right. So, leave. I command it. Return across the void from where you came.
Eli, he is not leaving.
I could see that.
Mageling, you created no summoning circle, no spells of binding, no means of holding me.
Look, it was my first exorcism, okay?
Neophyte mage, playing with forces you don't understand.
I'm mage enough to burn you into a greasy smudge.
You lie. I know a falsehood when I hear one. I can smell your power, mageling. You have none left. You are nearly spent. And you, Jin Child, are so fatigued you can barely stand.
That may be true, but stand we shall.
Since we're being so honest with each other, you don't look too healthy yourself.
The journey here was long and difficult. I used much of my energy getting here.
So you're just as tired as we are. That's called a stalemate, friend.
I do not wish to fight. I have no quarrel with either of you. I am merely hungry. Feed me, and I will return home.
That is all? What type of food do you require?
On this plane of existence, human flesh is all that will sustain me.
Of course it is. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Agreed. We cannot allow that. Depart in peace. There need not be bloodshed.
I need to feed. I will die otherwise.
The lady asked you to leave.
You give me orders?
I summoned you. I do have that right.
If you have the will to enforce it.
Right. So, leave. I commanded. Return across the void from where you came.
Eli, he is not leaving.
I could see that.
Mageling, you created no summoning circle, no spells of binding, no means of holding me.
Look, it was my first exorcism, okay?
Neophyte mage, playing with forces you don't understand.
I'm mage enough to burn you into a greasy smudge.
I can smell your power, mageling. You have none left. You are nearly spent. And you, Jinn Child, are so fatigued you can barely stand.
That may be true, but stand we shall.
Since we're being so honest with each other, you don't look too healthy yourself.
The journey here was long and difficult. I used much of my energy getting here.
So you're just as tired as we are. That's called a stalemate, friend.
I do not wish to fight. I have no quarrel with either of you. I am merely hungry. Feed me, and I will return home.
That is all? What type of food do you require?
On this plane of existence, human flesh is all that will sustain me.
Of course it is. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Agreed. We cannot allow that. Depart in peace. There need not be bloodshed.
I need to feed. I will die otherwise.
The lady asked you to leave.
You give me orders?
I summoned you. I do have that right.
If you have the will to enforce it.
Right. So, leave. I commanded. Return across the void from where you came.
Eli, he is not leaving.
I could see that.
Mageling, you created no summoning circle, no spells of binding, no means of holding me.
Look, it was my first exorcism, okay?
Neophyte mage, playing with forces you don't understand.
I'm mage enough to burn you into a greasy smudge.
You lie. I know a falsehood when I hear one. I can smell your power, mageling. You have none left. You are nearly spent. And you, Jinn Child, are so fatigued you can barely stand.
That may be true, but stand we shall.
Since we're being so honest with each other, you don't look too healthy yourself.
The journey here was long and difficult. I used much of my energy getting here.
So you're just as tired as we are. That's called a stalemate, friend.
I do not wish to fight. I've no quarrel with either of you. I am merely hungry. Feed me, and I will return home.
That is all? What type of food do you require?
On this plane of existence, human flesh is all that will sustain me.
Of course it is. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Agreed. We cannot allow that. Depart in peace. There need not be bloodshed.
I need to feed. I will die otherwise.
The lady asked you to leave.
You give me orders?
I summoned you. I do have that right.
If you have the will to enforce it.
Right. So, leave. I commanded. Return across the void from where you came.
Eli, he is not leaving.
Not to mention the victims inside are innocent. They have families, loved...
Mageling, you created no summoning circle, no spells of binding, no means of holding me.
Look, it was my first exorcism, okay?
Neophyte mage, playing with forces you don't understand.
I'm mage enough to burn you into a greasy smudge.
You lie. I know a falsehood when I hear one. I can smell your power, mageling. You have none left. You are nearly spent. And you, Jinn Child, are so fatigued you can barely stand.
That may be true, but stand we shall.
Since we're being so honest with each other, you don't look too healthy yourself.
The journey here was long and difficult. I used much of my energy getting here.
So you're just as tired as we are. That's called a stalemate, friend.
I do not wish to fight. I've no quarrel with either of you. I am merely hungry. Feed me, and I will return home.
That is all? What type of food do you require?
On this plane of existence, human flesh is all that will sustain me.
Of course it is. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Agreed. We cannot allow that. Depart in peace. There need not be bloodshed.
I need to feed. I will die otherwise.
The lady asked you to leave.
You give me orders?
I summoned you. I do have that.
If you have the will to enforce it.
Right. So... return across the void from where you came.
Eli, he is not...
I could see that.
Mageling, you created no summoning circle, no spells of binding, no means of holding me.
Look, it was my first exorcism, okay?
Neophyte mage, playing with forces you don't understand.
I'm mage enough to burn you into a greasy smudge.
You lie. I know a falsehood when I hear one. I can smell your power, mageling. You have none left. You are nearly spent. And you, Jin Child, are so fatigued you can barely stand.
That may be true, but stand we shall.
Since we're being so honest with each other, you don't look too healthy yourself.
The journey here was long and difficult. I used much of my energy getting here.
So you're just as tired as we are. That's called a stalemate, friend.
I do not wish to fight. I have no quarrel with either of you. I am merely hungry. Feed me, and I will return home.
That is all? What type of food do you require?
On this plane of existence, human flesh is all that will sustain me.
Of course it is. That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
Agreed. We cannot allow that. Depart in peace. There need not be bloodshed.
I need to feed. I will die otherwise.
The lady asked you to leave.
You give me orders?
I...
That was creatively done.
Yeah. Nice work. Look, pal, under most circumstances, I would have been happy to burn that guy to a crisp. But my magic's tapped out. I used it all up saving you.
And he returned the favor. To both of us.
Ugh. Such agony. What manner of pain is this? It hurts, unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Please, I got hit by lightning 20 minutes ago. Don't be such a baby.
That stench. It can't be. You, a demon spawn? On this plane? I can sense the corruption within you. Why do you come here to torment me?
There is no demon. I got rid of it.
You are a fool. The corruption lingers.
Creature, you are at our mercy. Return home through the void at once.
You know I cannot. I used all my energy to get here. I will not survive the return journey without food. I must feed on human flesh. In this world, nothing else will sustain me.
What? That's... Ugh.
Does the demon spawn speak true? There is meat inside this building?
Yes. Yes, there is. Slaughtered only hours ago.
Fresh meat. That is perfect. Let me consume my fill, and I will leave you in peace.
I do not think I can do that. It would draw too much attention. The police are bound to notice.
Not to mention the victims inside are innocent. They have families, loved ones. They'll want closure.
I am innocent too, mageling. You summoned me. I merely answered. Would you kill me just for that?
It speaks true, Eli. What is your decision?
Wait, you're putting this on me?
Yes.
I'm not the one that has to cut that thing's throat. I can't decide that for you.
It was your magic that brought it here. The choice is yours.
You're the one with the sword.
You are the one who summoned it.
You've got seniority. He's right. End it.
Of course. Die, creature. You shall claim no flesh this night. Ectoplasmic frame. Like all void creatures, it will dissolve away in the gutter. I suppose it is for the best.
It was the right thing to do.
I know. We did good work tonight.
We all did.
Agreed. You showed immense fortitude, especially for one in your situation.
Yeah. About that.
Let me. 1 year has passed since your possession. You're wanted by the police for many violent crimes.
You certainly can't go back to that bar of yours.
Indeed. Although I could certainly use a drink after tonight. The demon that infested you, that creature we just defeated, mere taste of what is out there.
And they just keep coming. We need manpower. Look, you saw us in action tonight. It's obvious we need all the help we could get.
Just as it is obvious your old life is gone. But we can help. We can give you a new identity, a new life, a new purpose.
Normally there's a vetting process, but you more than proved yourself tonight.
So, what say you? Will you join us?
Thank God. Some new blood at last. Sorry. That sounded much less creepy in my head.
We are all tired. We can find suitable sleeping arrangements back at our headquarters.
Sleeping sounds great. By the way, my name's Eli. This is Mandana.
Welcome to the Unavowed, my friend. Trust me, your life will never be the same. Please do not disturb those. It took centuries to arrange them just the way I like them.
Hey! Don't surprise a fire mage like that. Bad idea. Anyway, hi. You settling in okay? Yeah, I guess it kind of is. Where else can you see a guy throw fire without paying for it? But seriously, it took me a while to get used to this stuff. It's not gonna happen for you overnight. But you'll get there. Faster than you think. Anyway, I'm sure you want to walk around. I'll be here if you have any questions. I don't see why not. I know a little bit about that. What do you want to know? See you around, friend.
Please do not disturb those. It took centuries to arrange them. You are awake. Did you sleep well? Yes. That is quite normal from what I am told. Introduction to the supernatural world can often have unpredictable effects on the mundane mind. It may take some time for you to process it all. Forgive the term. No insult is intended, I assure you. After your actions last night, the word mundane hardly applies to you. I think you are going to make this transition just fine. And this is good, because there is so little time to waste. My father Kalash is waiting to speak to you in the room beyond the red drapes. When you are ready, seek him out. In the meantime, relax and explore the facility. I will be here if you have any questions.
Hey, what's up? You had time to process it? I know I have. To be honest, I'm just glad the exorcism worked. Took 4 days of concentration to prepare that spell. I gave it everything I had. Well, yeah. When you deal with demons, you don't leave anything to chance. Not to mention lightning. If I hadn't prepared, it could have fried you. Not to mention me. I just wish I hadn't summoned that thing. I know it was an accident, but we made the right call. We couldn't let it eat those people, even if they were dead. So I'm satisfied with how everything turned out. Right. See you around.
One twist to the story that I decided to cut because I realized it was dumb, but learning about my dumb ideas is half the fun of this commentary. One thing you were going to do was, over the course of the game, learn about the various people that Melcarissa had possessed over the centuries. And one of those people was Captain Kara, Mandana's mother. So it would lead to some very awkward conversations about you possibly being her mother. Were you possessing Kara when she was conceived? That kind of thing. In the end, I decided to cut that completely because it just made things overly complicated and over muddled and kind of made things very messy. So I just cut that completely.
Hmm? Oh, you're the new one, aren't you? Yes, free will. It can be more trouble than it's worth. As for me, I am Kalash. I am a djinn of the ancient kingdom, and I run this branch of the Unavowed. And you? You were possessed. How'd you let that happen? Sloppy. Such a thing would have been unthinkable once. In my day, even a newborn babe had wits enough to leave books of demonic evil alone. Mundanes today don't know they're born. The world has gotten soft. Needs toughening up. How tough are you, new boy? Yes, while its back was turned, a child would be victorious in those circumstances. No, no. You have yet to experience your true crucible, but it will come. Oh yes, it will come. At any rate, we have much to discuss and much to do. Settle in, talk to the others, get the lay of the land. I will call our meeting when you are ready. What is it? You ready to start the meeting? As you were. I don't believe I gave you permission to leave. I don't believe I gave you permission to leave. What is it? You ready to start the meeting? As you were.